I started my life outside. It's our culture, it's our tradition. I started here about Martin Luther King. So how did I come with this name? I'm a retired military officer. When I was growing up, I was a bit disappointed.
Hi, I'm by name Joy Joshua Kishimi, and welcome to another episode of Ham Heritage. Today is a wonderful day because on this Ham Heritage episode, we have with me a very wonderful personality in the world, in Africa, in Nigeria, in Kaduna, and the son of the soil of Southern Kaduna, of the Ham community. And I bet you it will be an awesome moment to take this journey with us from the beginning to the end. Stay tuned and don't go away. Brother, sir.
Thank you. How are you?
Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah.
So I'd like you to introduce yourself and for people to know, because I just give a little about you and people are really anticipating to know who am I on this episode with.
Well, you are welcome. My name is Martin Luther Agwai. I'm a retired military officer who rose from the rank of second lieutenant and wore all the available rank in the military up to a 4-star general, which is the highest.
Amazing.
From the humble beginning, born from my parents, both my parents, my father and my mother come from the same village called Gidamana. In Java, it is Harmana. I was born when my father was attending teachers training college in Kaguru.
Okay.
And remember that time people go to school.
Yeah.
Oh.
No.
Even my immediate elder sister was born in Kaguru. It's a 3-year course.
Okay.
So in the process of my father being in teachers college in Kaguru, 2 of us were born there. My immediate senior sister was born, and I was born.
Okay.
Both of us in Kaguru. And you strange because when I was growing up, I was a bit disappointed.
Okay.
Because I didn't have any Ham name. I didn't have any Hausa name. I found myself with and then it's not in the Bible. That is the most disappointing part. A foreign name, not in the Bible, not a Hausa name, not a Java name. And what is this? So I found my name, Martin, not only Martin, but I was officially by my parents named Martin Luther. So on sitting down after actually it was when I was in secondary school that I really confront my father. Say, how did I come with this name? Oh, he told me that when they were in Kaguru, they were doing the history, and you know, I will rewind.
Yeah.
I had started hearing about when I was in secondary school. I started hearing about Martin Luther King.
Yes.
But I was positive that he was nobody when I was born.
Oh, okay.
He was nobody when I was born.
Yes.
So my father wouldn't have named me after Martin Luther King. So I now asked, he said, oh, when they were in school, they had the history of Martin Luther, the reformer.
Okay.
The reformer.
Okay.
That is the Protestant, the person who brought the Protestant church.
Yes, sir.
So he's Martin Luther, a German.
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay, because I've read about him now. After knowing that is the person I was named after. So that was what I said. What? I have discovered 2 Martin Luthers that are prominent.
Yes.
The Martin Luther, the reformer or the Protestant, and then Martin Luther King Jr. in the US. So I now become proud of my name, Martin Luther, and
that's amazing.
And I kept it till today.
And it really make a very good footprint because you've made a lot. That name alone, I think I was like, how did we happen to come across such person in Hamland, Martin Luther? No, this one there need to be Martin Luther Pope. Anyway, so you've really said a lot, and this little intro about you has really opened my eyes to know there is power in names. Yes. And then there is a being that you are from the Ham community, and you know of the recent slogan, I am Ham, not Jabba. I guess you know about that.
Well, you see, I totally agree with you about name.
Thank you.
Name has importance, but again, yes, if we do not project what we are and what we think and what we believe in our culture, nobody will do it for us. Um, when I started, I told you that both my parents come from Gidamana.
Very true.
Because if you go to the map today,
Yes, sir.
you will not find Harmana. Very few.
Yes.
You only find Gidamana. And that's why I quickly said, knowing well that in our dialect, in our language, Har is Gida. And the person whom historically started the Har is Mana. Okay. That's the name of the person.
Yes.
And that's why they named the place Har Mana.
Yes.
Gidan Mana. So in my generation, I use both. So that people will understand, yes, I'm Ham by origin. If you go to the map, you will hardly find the Ham. You will find Java people, the same people. But we call ourselves, even if you read any book about me or any interview I've heard about myself, I've always said, my people, we identify ourselves as the Ham people. And jokingly, I tell people, even in the Bible, you find us, the Ham. And if you go to eat, you find us Ham on the table. So we're everywhere. We are
everywhere, and we are blessed because we are known to be hospitable people.
That I will totally agree with you. I'll totally agree with you. It's our culture, it's our tradition. You want me? I can tell you, I didn't start my life in our environment, in the Hamland. I started my life outside. In Jos, precisely in Jos.
Okay.
When I got back home to start school, that is another long story. But when I got back to start school, I remember in Harmana, there was no school. So we either go to, in the whole of Garham, there was not one senior secondary. You remember that time we have junior primary school and senior primary school.
Okay, that's the class 10 kind of episode.
You do class 1 to 4.
Yes.
That's junior primary. Then you write exam and you pass before you go to senior primary school. And that is primary 5 to 7.
Oh, 7?
Yes.
Wow.
And then few lucky people pass to go common entrance exam in primary 6 and go to secondary school.
That's deep.
So and then another thing in my time is that 90% of your learning in junior primary school was in Hausa.
Okay.
It's only when you go to senior primary school that you start learning English. And they start speaking in English, learn everything. You cannot speak Hausa. I remember in 1960 when I went to primary 5.
Yes, sir.
We were the first primary 5 in Kurumu Musa, which is Jake. And Jake, now if you go to the map, you'll find it's called Kurumu Musa.
Okay.
Okay. We were the first primary 5 there. And Marlon David James from Koi was our first teacher. And so we started learning English. And then when you cannot, if you speak vernacular or Hausa, you will be fine.
Okay.
Yeah, so we will start speaking English and you even mix Hausa word to sound like English so that you will not pay a fine.
So, can you remember some of those slangs? Can you remember some of those slangs?
If you, for example, you distribute things equally.
Yes.
And then you couldn't understand, you couldn't you say, Nason Jam Jayeva Day. As we are speaking English, but what we are saying actually is Jam.
Yes.
Nason Jam Jayeva Day.
Okay, so now I understand it's not the English, but it's the pronunciation.
This one that we say is English.
So you're trying to imitate someone.
Yes,
you're trying to imitate your teachers, the way they speak.
So we now speak it and say we're speaking English.
Oh, that's amazing.
And like when you have Dave,
Yeah.
and you cannot understand Dave, you say Gave. Gave.
Yeah, Gave.
When you don't understand, you say Gave. All that was English because you don't want to say you are speaking Hausa or
yeah,
vernacular.
so you just have to switch.
Yes.
Wisdom is possible to those who believe. Okay.
Even my grandmother, when I grew up with her, funny. That, to be honest, God bless her soul.
Yes.
Because what I think I am today, I have attributed, my parents have here tried, but honestly attributed to my grandmother.
That's amazing. That's honestly a woman for you.
For example, in 1955, I started primary 1 in Jos. And my father was transferred from Jos to Kafanchan in April 55. So I have to leave primary 1 in 1955 with my father to Kafanchan. And then 1956, I remember that vividly because that was the year the Queen came to Nigeria. 1956, I started primary 1 in Kafanchan. Again, because I did only 3 months in primary 1 before.
Yes.
So I started primary 1. And by August, my father was transferred back to Jos. So I left primary 1 in August 1956 back to Jos with my father. So now in December 56, my father came home on leave and now decided to what I then thought abandon me in Harmana with my grandmother.
Oh, okay.
Because I saw it as an abandonment. Because I grew up in Jos where there's pipe-on water. At least I grew up, I know what was called electricity. By the time I went back to Harmana, or Gidamana, if you look at the map.
Gidamana.
There is no water. We have to go to the street to get water. There was no sign of electricity. We have to use this achibalbal.
Yes.
The one they use, this old tin milk with the cover.
Yes, sir.
That was what we were using. And that is, you can see the transformation from that to this, to a young person at the age of 6, 7. It was a devastating thing.
Yes.
And that's why I felt my parents abandoned me.
Oh.
But with hindsight, with what has happened in my life, I thought this was the will of God that would happen, because that helped me to be who I am today. Today. Number one, my grandmother at that time cannot speak Hausa or English. Yeah. So I have to learn the language, Yam, to be able to communicate with my grandmother. Or else I will not eat, or I will not sleep. Because that's the only means of communication. And that is why you find with all sense of humility, my Yam is better than a lot of people. Because I learned the original one from my grandmother. Yes, the undiluted. By the time I grew up, I was with her for primary 2 to 7. Because I didn't have primary 1. Okay. So in 1957, I started from primary 2. Okay. Then 58, I went to primary 3. I left Java Kogo, which is Fudum. Okay. That is the Java name. The Yam name is Dum. Okay. Now I left Dum, which is Java Kogo, to Jake, which is Kuru Musa. Oh. The one in Dum, which is closer to Harmana, closer to Gidamana, was an NA school, Native Authority School. Whereas the one in Jake, which is Kuru Musa, was an SIM primary school. And people believed then, and I was also convinced, that the standard of learning at SIM primary school was better and higher than the NA primary school. So though Dum is closer to Harmana, which is just about 3 miles. Not up to 3 miles. But I had to go to Kuru Musa, which was 5 miles, at 1958 to start primary 3. Again, having done primary 2 in Javankogo, and I did fairly well. I now was asked to go to Kuru Musa, and the system in Kuru Musa, they believe that the NA primary school was so low that if you leave, you either repeat that class or you go a class down. So I was supposed to leave Jawankogo to go and repeat primary 2 again in Kuru Musa, or go to primary 1. Luckily, I told you my father went to Teachers College.
Yes, sir.
His student was now the headmaster of the school.
Oh.
So they gave me a privilege that I will have the exam. If I pass, they will put me in primary 2 depending on performance. So I did fairly well in that exam, so they put me in primary 3.
Oh.
So I left primary 2 from Janko 1 to primary 3, and luckily the first exam, full exam I did in my class, I was third.
Oh.
So that's science still delivered. I now continue my primary education in Kuru Musa until I finished 62. Then I went to secondary school in Zaria in 1963.